You have been watching the sentencing hearing for Parkland school shooter Nikolas Cruz. Cruz was formally sentenced to life in prison without parole after a jury voted to spare him from the death penalty. CBS News correspondent Manuel Bojorquez joins us now live from Fort Lauderdale. Manny, you've been covering this from day one. I can't help but notice that Nikolas Cruz's face was pretty blank when the judge read every single victim's name, every single count. Was there any moment where that wasn't the case? And how do you think that the families are responding now that it is so official?
His facial expression never really changed throughout this entire proceeding, the 2 days of this sentencing hearing. The one interesting moment in court is when the parents of one of the victims, Jamie Guttenberg, told him as he was wearing his mask during the whole proceeding to take it off. They said, "We don't want you to hide behind a mask. We want to see how you're reacting to all of this." For the parents and the family members of the victims, you have to imagine that during the trial, they were told to try to minimize their emotional displays in court so that the defense could not try to seek a mistrial for, say, trying to influence the jury. This was their chance to let it all out, and they did. There was raw emotion, raw anger in the courtroom today from parents who called him a coward, an animal who described the pain that they still live with to this day. And yet his face never really changed. That blank stare was just there all the time.
I have been following your coverage, and I know that the families had their moments, certainly, to express their frustrations, their anger, really, at the way this all wrapped up, because, of course, they were pushing for the death penalty. So I wonder if the survivors and the victims feel there was any justice now that the trial has finally ended.
Many of them feel they did not get justice. We heard over and over during their victim impact statements them arguing that the legal system let them down, that there's no way they can envision how a jury would look at what happened there, the fact that it was premeditated, that there was planning, and not see that the death penalty should fit this case. But they are now resigned to live with what has happened here, and that he will spend the rest of his life in prison. So that's something that we heard over and over from the survivors. It was interesting to hear, and painful, really, from any spectator, any witness watching this hearing, how they describe what they're currently living with. PTSD, suicidal thoughts, the fear constantly of being out in public and having something like this happen all over again. We heard family members say, you know, we'll never be able to get our family members back, but after today, regardless of what the sentence is and whether they agree with it or not, that this is the last day they want to see his face or ever utter his name again.
All right, Manuel Bojorquez, thank you so much. Again, that was the sentencing for Nikolas Cruz, who will spend the rest of his life behind bars.